What going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Punchups, episode 17. I forget the score because there's lots going on. I think it is 1-0.
No, it's 1-0.
Is it?
Yeah, we did punishment week, and then we did last week, and you won. So it's 1-0 your way.
That's because I'm humble. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yep, sure thing. You're the most humble person I've ever met.
Whoa.
So humble.
Whoa, I feel like I am. What's been going on with you?
Finally on a bit of a break at the moment. 4 days off. Chilling.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
How good?
Having a good time.
Long weekend. Recording on a Monday instead. It's a little bit different.
Nice. Means I have more time to watch stuff. I could play games all day Saturday and then watch stuff yesterday.
Oh.
Boy, did I watch stuff.
Did you? How many things did you watch? Did you watch them all?
I watched them all. Yep. As in, I watched
That's
two things we had to watch, and I watched some other stuff, and I watched all of the fucking Win or Lose.
Oh, cool, because I finished it this morning too.
Oh, good. Hell yeah.
What else did you watch though? I'm always interested to see what you watch because you watch the same things over and over again, and then you give me you give me grief when you're like, you listen to the same music over and over again. How do you eat the same thing over and over again? But you watch the same thing over and over again.
Okay, you know what? That's not a bad argument.
So, what'd you watch?
I watched Wolf of Wall Street. I watched some Taskmaster.
Wolf of Wall Street. That's like 3 hours. How many
When I watch Wolf of Wall Street, though, I don't just stare at it and watch it because I've seen it so many times that I was doing some editing stuff at the time.
Okay. Because it's a long time.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot. I played like 4 hours of Rivals yesterday.
Let's go.
Just good play. It's good.
Oh, nice.
Anyway,
I was playing Rivals yesterday.
Yeah,
I was playing ranked, and I was on a lovely winning streak, going really, really well. Was doing my job, and then last night decided to play again because I'm addicted.
There's a mistake.
And that's what I do. I don't.
Twice in a day never goes well.
I don't know. Whatever. I just enjoy playing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just mechanically, I'm improving. Playing some DPS as well when things aren't going well. So I'm getting some DPS practice in, and then started getting flamed because my team was like, "You're not playing with the team." I'm like, "I'm making space. You guys aren't just pushing up." And then flyer meta is insane. It's driving me nuts. If Reimann gets the team up with Ultron, he just melts me as a tank, and I'm just sitting there going, well, sick
and Ultron
team.
being silly.
Good job. Yeah.
I've been practicing Widow
melted.
so that I can get rid of some flyers.
I like it because Punisher gets banned, Hela gets banned a lot. Been playing a bit of Hulk lately. It's been fun because Hulk hasn't been getting banned as much.
Nice.
So that's sick. Yeah. Speaking of games. Guess what? We've obviously had PlayStation, what's it called? Their like showcase. We've had Xbox showcase. Xbox are now releasing their handheld, and they've teamed up with what is that? The gaming brand that does phones. It starts with A, but they've teamed up with them to release the hand. Yeah. Xbox.
ROG was doing it. The Ally?
ROG, that one, yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So that looks pretty cool. I did buy the Switch 2 as well on Saturday, so we've been playing a bit of Mario Kart. It's real fun.
I'll buy it when there's more than just Mario Kart out.
That's fair. I figured whatever. I'll get it because I wanted to play Mario Kart and some new things. Really, I wanted to just make sure I got it. Otherwise, the further it gets further on, the less likely I'll get it.
Sure.
I want to play the new Bloodborne.
Yeah, that and the new whatever the next Mario is going to be will probably be the reasons I buy it.
Yeah, they're going to go off. It was real good transferring wise as well, like seamless. It was really good.
Good.
It's actually cool. All you got to do, just got to put it next to each other, the two switches, and it pretty much transfers over. Sick.
Anyway, I think this is maybe news, but continue.
My point is 007 First Light trailer. So James Bond is getting a origin story, but it is in a interactive spy game, which I was like, that's a really weird way to do it. I would have thought the way we're going with IPs and stuff, that James Bond would have got an origin story already.
Yeah, it's true.
We get,
and it's weird they're doing it in a game.
An interactive game. That was my point. I got on a tangent, but I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, I would have thought that if they did an origin story, there would be here's an opportunity to cast someone young and fresh for the IP that's been, marketed towards middle-aged men for the past 30 years. But
we've also got some new casting news for the Star Wars Starfighter, which is going to set Mia Goth in lead villain role, who's going to be opposing Ryan Gosling. I am still trying to come to terms with Ryan Gosling being a staff pilot, but like he's actually been really good in a lot of roles that I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
I don't know. I've kind of got in my mind him in a Notebook, and it's like it's hard to get out of that.
Oh, really? He's done so many good roles since then. Jesus.
I know, but every time I think of him, I'm like, oh, the Notebook guy. But whatever. Like I gave him props. I said he's done really well.
Think of Barbie and the Fall Guy.
I'm not.
Mia Goth. I like Mia Goth. She's pretty special in like Pearl and X, and that was Maxine and whatever. I'm interested to see her as a bad guy.
Be a villain.
Yeah.
Be kind of cool. Also, one movie that we did watch on the show, I can't remember if it was Movie News or this one, but it is Wicked for Good. Movie News is out. The trailer's out now, and there's speculation that Taylor Swift will be playing Dorothy.
Is this a sequel already?
Yeah, they've already filmed it, eh? They filmed them both at the same time.
I literally had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they filmed them at the same time, and then they were editing. They finished the first one, then this one's just wrapped up in post. So,
sure.
Exciting.
What's the rumor? Taylor Swift is who?
Dorothy.
Oh, right. Okay. If they've already filmed it, wouldn't it be already decided who's Dorothy? Or they just haven't announced it?
Unless somehow they kept it secret, because very rarely do they ever keep things secret these days, because everyone wants to leak things.
Taylor Swift, it's fucking advertising's going to go crazy.
Yeah. So, who knows? I think that's pretty insane if they've kept this on the wraps until now.
I heard a small person, he was in wrestling, then there was like the Irish one, and there was the one running around with, he was an actor. I can't remember the actor's name. I saw him on TikTok the other day talking about how much he hates Peter Dinklage and how...
Oh, really?
And how there are some little people out there who would be totally fine with playing dwarves and being typecast like that. And because Peter Dinklage got on his high horse and was like, we should be subject to these roles and whatever, just because he's had a successful career, a lot of little people are hating on him because he has, there's probably 100 jobs when you think of in the Seven Dwarfs, you've got the 7 characters, then you've got the extras, then you've got the stunt people and whatever. There's people who are losing jobs because he got on his high horse, and a lot of little people are against him now because he cost them jobs, because he, it's all well and good for him to make the claim about little people's rights when he's got heaps of successful roles. But people out there who want to be actors who would happily take those roles. So,
that's fair.
Change my opinion on it a little bit.
Yeah,
just what we're talking about. Well, cool. I only mention this because Peter Dinklage is in Wicked.
Yeah, right. That's cool. Blumhouse has announced a new movie adaptation. Can you guess what it is? It is a game. It is a very popular game that always is getting a fair few numbers on Twitch.
Valorant.
it has ghosts in it.
Oh,
We
that's
played the
right. The
knockoff.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see this.
It's getting a adaptation. Hopefully it's better than Until Dawn, because that was disappointing.
I mean, yeah. We'll see what happens, but I just don't know how it's going to translate to a show, kind of like Until Dawn.
I don't know. They go into a spooky house. It's terrifying. There's ghosts. I'm scared already.
Identify the ghosts or whatever.
Yeah, maybe they're like.
I had the same conversation
Ghostbusters.
with a student the other day too. Basically, what we were saying, how it's a fine movie, Until Dawn. It's just because it's because they took the IP. If it wasn't called Until Dawn, the movie, it'd be fine. I would have enjoyed it. But the whole time you're watching it, you're comparing it to the game, and it doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it for the old movie news. Unless you heard any bits and pieces.
All it needs to be. Let's get
I think we
into
also
the
get
movies.
How I Train Your Dragon's coming out very, very soon as well.
Yeah,
I've just watched the original again.
A couple of weeks.
I'm quite excited for this.
That was like the 12th or 20th. Something.
The 12th, yeah. This Thursday. So, what's that? 1, 2, 3. 3 days to go.
Yeah, right. Soon.
Craziness. Also,
movie
Ballerina is out as well. So, the
right.
new John Wick expansion. So,
That sounds like our 2 picks next week then.
it does. It does.
If we can
How good?
make time to watch them. Yep.
How good. And then our first one off the ranks is a returning feature debut from the Philippou brothers.
Their sophomore film, yeah.
Which is your pick for
Was
the
my
week.
pick. Yes. Been pretty excited for this. Just as a reminder, if we go back into Talk to Me, we watched it last time. You gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4.75. So we both really enjoyed Talk to Me. Really enjoyed Talk to Me. This is my favorite. Is in my top 5 movies that year or something. I don't remember. Yeah, shit was good. So this is their sophomore film. It's their second movie they've done together, or like a proper standard movie anyway. And already with their first 2, they know what they're doing. This isn't like the first one wasn't a fluke. It's clear that these boys are going to be around for a while and going to be sort of changing the horror genre a little bit, which is great. This one's also filmed in Adelaide, which is where we are, so it's kind of nice. Following the death of their father, a brother and sister are introduced to their new sibling by their foster mother, only to learn that she has a terrifying secret. I know, I was waiting for it. You do that literally every single time. Even if it isn't. Bum.
Predictable.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You
It's
like
fun.
patterns.
I do.
Autism.
I do.
So, this movie stars, we've got Sora Wong as Piper and Billy Barrett as Andy, and they are step siblings. It's never really explained what happens to Sora's mother, but they're living with Billy's dad. Sorry, I should say Piper's mother. They're living with Andy's dad. Andy's dad dies in the opening of the movie. Well, kind of. And they're put into the foster system. Now, Andy's only like 3 months from 18. So the plan is go live with someone short term, and then once Andy's old enough, he'll win guardianship of Piper. He and Piper will go live together. They end up living with a woman called Laura, who's Sally Hawkins. And the last movie I've seen her in was Paddington.
Was it? I thought it was Wonka.
We watched Paddington since then. We watched.
She was in Wonka, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's Wonka's mum. But she's like the Paddington mum in the Paddington movies, which we watched last year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And she plays such sweet, like even in Wonka, she's a little sweetie. She's such a lovely woman. Big smile. So when she's the antagonist in this movie, it's pretty jarring. She does a really good job as well. I think the talk about it later as well, but the acting sort of holds us together the most. So they live with Laura. Living with Laura already is this boy called Oliver, or Ollie they call him. And he is mute. He sort of just stares into space. You can tell there's some sort of like brain damage there or something, and this kid's a bit disconnected from reality. But as the story continues,
it's quite intimidating, really.
Yeah, he is.
What are you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even like holding the cat. I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, I thought it's gonna fucking murder the cat.
Out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, as the story goes on, Laura becomes more and more unhinged. It turns out Laura lost a daughter, Cindy. Cindy was also blind, and she. It turns out, and I mean spoilers, but it sort of comes through in the trailer. But Laura's goal is to drown Piper, because she has to die in the same way as her daughter. Drown Piper, and living inside Oliver, she calls it an angel. She's somehow trapped an angel living inside Oliver, and the angel is going to eat the body of her deceased child and then regurgitate that into the body of Piper, which will bring her back, hence the name. Except Oliver is clearly possessed by something demonic rather than an angel. Well, I guess it depends on your depiction of angels, but he's evil. He definitely comes across quite evil. So yeah, the movie. Please.
We're sort of fed this with found footage. Like there was some, I feel like inspiration from what's it called, Blair Witch Project, with all the found footage sort of tapes.
Yeah, because the cold opening of the movie is this like sacrifice, and there's a woman recording it on like an old camera. So she's watching like YouTube tutorials on VHS on how to trap an angel in Oliver, which is never explained where they come from or how she had access to them. If she was given them or she went and rented them from the library. It's never really made clear.
Yeah. It was just like, we've got tapes. You found it, like literally on the nose. Found footage. You found these tapes.
Yeah.
And I guess in that state of grief, you're kind of not thinking in the same mindset.
Yeah, and grief is like the theme in this, and how different people deal with grief. Just like Expedition 33. So
Ooh.
in the story, Laura just becomes more unhinged, and then towards the end, she like Andy goes and gets this woman who works, Wendy her name is, who works as like a child protective services agent in the police or whatever. We don't have GPS in Australia, but whatever the fucking ours is called. And yeah, goes and gets this Wendy woman, brings her to the house, and Laura is all pretending things are nice and happy. And then when she's leaving, she's like, Wendy sees that she's cut, because Ollie took a chunk out of Laura's arm. Wendy sees that she's bleeding, and Laura, instead of just being like, oh, cut myself or whatever, she straight away is like, oh, we get to bring her back. I've got an angel inside Oliver. She spills the beans. She just tells Wendy everything. So then Wendy runs out of the house screaming with Andy.
She was already spiraling though. Like she was never in the cool, calm, collected headset. Like she was freaked out.
But Wendy was like believing it up to that point.
Yeah, but plus some blood loss. Like it's a fair chunk out of her arm. Like there's lots of things. Like you're not going to be in your
well, no, she wasn't
headset.
She wasn't in the collective headset anyway. Yeah.
No,
so then Wendy and Andy get outside. They're about to get in the car, and Laura just fucking runs them over with her four-wheel drive. Kills Wendy instantly. Andy's like struggling to breathe in the dirt. Laura holds his hand under and drowns him, and he dies. And then it's Piper, the blind girl, trying to fight for her life. But I'm glad it didn't turn into just a random action scene with them fighting each other at the end because it wouldn't have made any sense. We learned earlier that Piper's got good aim. Good, like, she can hear direction of sound and throw things pretty accurately because she's playing some ball game or some, like, gym.
I watched that in the Paralympics. I can't remember what it was called, but it was actually fascinating to watch. Like, it's an actual proper sport. What was it? Whereas, like, you have 3 or 4 on the team. I think the balls have, like, bells in them, and they have to roll them, and then you have to, like, protect it, and you got to try and get it in the goals.
Sure.
Like,
okay.
What is that called?
Yeah. Definitely something going on. She's just playing some sports. So, she has good aim. She throws shit at Laura. She gets out. And yet somehow Laura still gets hold of her, ends up taking it.
It's called.
What, sorry?
Goal ball.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But Laura ends up getting Piper to the pool, tries to drown her. Piper calls her mum when she's drowning. She's like, help, mum, save me, or whatever. And then Laura's like, I can't kill her. She's a daughter too. She didn't say that, but, that's sort of what happens in her head. And then Piper gets free. Laura goes and gets the corpse of her child out of the freezer and holds it in the pool while she gets arrested. It's more or less how it ends. So it's not your typical horror. Like, Talk to Me followed, a lot of, like, horror tropes. Still didn't rely on jump scares, which was nice. The couple. This had 0 jump scares, which I really appreciate. I think it's lazy.
You don't like jump scares?
Sorry?
You don't like them?
I think they're lazy. They don't get me anymore because they're always set up the same way. And they, it's just lazy filmmaking. I feel like there's other ways to make you scared. But where this sort of held itself together was character portrayal. Like, the performances are amazing. Every character's great, including the child actors too. And the practical effects, which we're, learning over time, is Philippu's strength. I think the story is cohesive enough, but there's also things that have me questioning, like, why is that happening, and where did she get access to these videos, and how did she first learn about these videos, and did she? They sort of allude to the fact that Laura might have had a hand in killing Andy's father because she wanted to get Piper. So I've sort of pieced together that she must have, because Piper goes to this event where she practices goalball. Maybe Kathy did as well, Laura's daughter, and then they met at goalball, but Piper never, she wouldn't recognize Laura because she's blind. So, there's a few things that you sort of have to piece together yourself, but not knowing whether you're accurate or not, I guess, doesn't matter too much. But I don't know. I'm not saying it should be longer, but I just think there's a lot of things I'm like, I don't know what the origin of that is, or.
Yeah, there's a lot of conveniences as well.
Yeah.
Where I was like, that's kind of convenient. How are you going to wrap it up? I liked how it wasn't like a happy ending. Like, it wasn't just the brother and sister escape and away they go. It was like, like, even the point where, what's her name? Laura beats Piper, gives her the black eye, and then it was convenient that the coach is then like, I want to talk about the eye, and then at the end it's like, I was driving out to go check, and then all of a sudden you're running away and you get found at the same time that you're running out. I was like, it's a little bit convenient.
Yeah, there's a bit of that.
Yeah, also they built up circles so much where it was like, like one of the opening scenes, it was like there's a circle and then we transition to the house from memory, and then there's a whole, like, the circle keeps Oliver at like bay, like it keeps him calm, and then she does the circle on the window, and then there's a circle around the house, and then
because the circle is the trap. Is the and I think that on the window it was her sort of reminding the quote unquote angel that she's in control. Because the circle on his forehead is what she uses to, once he leaves the circle of the house, and she gets her video tutorials back up. And Ollie's like becoming Connor again. She uses the circle on his forehead to re-trap the angel. But yeah, it's not really explained, but...
Was that salt? I'm assuming it's salt, because most like supernatural things, it's like a circle of salt keeps.
I don't think it mattered
away.
Because the rain, we saw the rain washing it away at one point, but it was still there at the end of the movie. Like, is she reapplying that?
That's what I was trying to work out. Like, how much salt are you buying?
Yeah, I thought it was paint at first.
Yeah, I was like, there's lots of bits and pieces where I'm like, what is happening? But for me, like, every scene building up towards the, I guess you would say, final act with their big confrontation where you knew what was going to happen, I was like, what is happening here? Like, there was a whole funeral scene, which that funeral, I've been to that funeral house because my friends' mothers, like family friends, was pretty much my auntie growing up. The funeral was there. Yep. I was like, I've been there before. I even messaged you that. And then where she was like, kiss him on the lips. That's like, what's it called? Thingo. And then she takes some hair, but it's never, for me, I was like, what is happening? Like, why is she doing this? Like, these rituals, I don't understand why we're doing these rituals. Like, there's bits and pieces that you drip feeding me, but like, you kept raising more and more questions. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, okay, like the demon's got to eat the body and then spew the body up and then they come back to life. But it was like, why do we have the hair? Why do we have this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
the hair was real weird. It made no sense to me. Was it just to like give him an appetite for human flesh?
Yeah, like there was some things I was really confused about. The gore and the transformation of Oliver was really cool.
Yes. There's a few scenes.
Especially the scene where he's biting the table.
Yes.
Jeez. Oh, and the knife. Oh.
Yeah, the first scene of him sort of losing his mind. Yeah, grabs like a cutting knife and like just starts chewing on it, but like blade up. And it's cutting into his teeth and and then him chewing into the table.
Even if the blade was down, I think it just cuts down, like, regardless of.
Yeah, mate. I mean, up or down, not left to right, is what I'm sort of saying.
Yeah.
Because it was left to right. I could chew on a knife right now, and if it was flat, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, fair.
Really.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Don't do that at home.
But the body horror, and the sort of, there's a scene. Yeah, the scene where Ollie's biting into the table. He's hungry. They say he must be hungry for, like, I don't know, stuff that's
flesh,
hard dangerous to eat. I don't understand why he went straight into eating tables and whatever. But then he,
even
like
the milk carton as well. He like bites the milk carton. Is like
he bites like his hand, and then he like rips the skin away, and the skin rips all the way down his forearm, like this big long run of flesh. Looked great. Looked really, really good. And his teeth like snapping on the table, because you think of like biting a table, your teeth wouldn't be able to handle it. But he's sort of biting through it like a zombie. His teeth have fallen to bits. So all that stuff was really, really good. And that was when I was like a bit, you had to sort of not look away, but you sort of like, oh wow, sort of cringing to it. But yeah, I think the Philippi brothers obviously have a running theme across their movies so far. All about people having to, how they deal with death. Like in the first movie, I forget the character's name, but our main character was dealing with the death of her dad or her mum, I forget. And she wanted to her mum. And she used the hand because she wanted to talk to her mum again. And this is about Laura wanting to bring her daughter back. So, there's a bit of a running theme across their movies and all about grief and how people struggle to let go of loved ones after their past and whatever else. So I like that there's a bit of a running theme. But in terms of sort of overall thoughts, I don't think it's as strong as Talk to Me.
No, I think they had the idea, they just couldn't link everything together.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it was the runtime or if what it was, but it's just, it had me like asking questions. Like, I don't know, at least we talked to me like with the hand, they had like the little backstory about how the hand got passed to person.
Yeah.
It was like it was, instead it was just, she's got the tapes, we don't understand where these tapes have come from. Like I would have liked more information on that. And then
yeah,
I hated the part where it was like in the pool where she's about to do the whole transferring and kill Piper, and then she was like, Mom, and I was like, I was kind of like, I don't know, I wanted Oliver to like lose his mind and just go through it, but then everyone get eaten.
I wanted the ending to be Oliver does the fucking the deed. It sounds like sex. He does what's expected. He eats Kathy, throws up into Piper. Piper dies, and they do the body transfer. But I want Kathy, you know, like in Full Metal Alchemist, where yes, they bring the mother back, but she's not really the mother. She's like all demonic and evil, and well, not really, but you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted Oliver to kill Piper. I wanted the ending that Laura wanted, and I wanted Laura to get her way. But the Kathy that's transferred over is either evil or dangerous or a shell of her old, you know, so that Laura still gets her comeuppance a little bit. I would have preferred an ending where everyone loses, even Piper.
Yeah, I get that. I agree wholeheartedly with that one. And then we end with like the plane where Andy and Piper were talking about the plane, where it was like when people die, their planes are used to transfer the souls or whatever. And then we end with the plane going over. I was like, all right. It was kind of like...
I'm glad though, when Andy left, my fear was that it's going to be that classic fucking trope where the main characters go and find someone who happens to know everything about what they're experiencing, and they just go find this guy, and a guy explains everything and goes, oh, there's this old cult that used to transfer the souls of people, and she found the tapes when a guy visited her and said, I don't know what you need at her child's funeral or whatever. Like, I'm glad they didn't just like try to exposition it all away. I'd rather have no answers than, you know, really convenient dumb answers. But at the same time, I still felt like it was that cold opening of the whole ritual at the beginning. What's the purpose? Who was doing it? Why? I like cults, so give me some cult explanation. Did Laura used to be in a larger cult, and then she left when she had her daughter. So now that she's come back, you know, to that cult side because she lost her daughter or whatever. Like, you know, even as a little thing like that would have been nice, but
yeah, I don't know. I originally thought like something was going to be out the back, like there's going to be a basement and all those rituals were happening in the basement rather than just the locked door and the freezer. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was expecting a little bit more from it.
Yeah, same. But it's hard because Talk to Me was fucking genius. And I think that, you know, it's like the same thing with Parasite and Monkey 17. It's like if there's one that comes out that's damn near a masterpiece, it doesn't make the next one bad in comparison. You can say it's not as good, but you can't be like, oh, I hated it because it wasn't as good as Talk to Me, or it wasn't as good as Parasite. Like that's a dumb critique.
No, like I didn't hate it. I was just,
no, not you.
It wasn't
not you.
as I've heard
good. People online complain about and instantly make the comparison and be like, it's not as good, so therefore I didn't like it. I still think it's a very good movie. If this was their first movie, I'd still think it's great.
Yeah. It's like it just had left me with some questions, really.
Yeah.
It's like I just wanted a little bit more, I don't know, fleshed out storytelling, I guess.
Yeah. And there weren't as many like really awesome fun scenes. Like I think Talk to Me has some really, like there's the scenes of them with the carousel music playing while they're playing with the hand and stuff, and there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of subtext in Talk to Me around like drugs, and sort of like the kid, young people's addiction to things that they're meant not to play with, but they still do. And I think there's more subtext in Talk to Me as well. But yeah, I'm at like a 3.5 for this, maybe a 4, like that sort of area. I think I need to rewatch it and spend some more time. Maybe there are more layers to it I haven't picked up yet, but right now I'm gonna say 3.5.
Yeah, I'm on board with the 3.5.
Yeah,
it was like, it's better than just a good film. Like there's heaps of it that I'm like, yeah, that was sick. Like the horror and the question building. You're like, what is happening? It just unfortunately unraveled at the end for me. I was like, I want a little bit more. It was a little bit convenient as well, where Connor wrote Bird. Or Oliver wrote Bird, and then all of a sudden we got like a close-up of the pin-up board at the protective house thingo, and then it was like, Connor Bird is missing. I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, Andy's like, if you can't speak, maybe you can write to me what's going on in your head. So it's him trying to be like, help me.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, it's a little bit convenient. But
I think it's convenient. I think it's just a plot device, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I found it convenient.
Sure. But yeah, 3.5. It's still good.
Yeah.
Anyway, take us into your pick.
Oh, mine is Win or Lose, which is the new one out from Disney and Pixar, which is a 8-episode little masterpiece, which is following a... Is it? I feel like it's baseball, but it's softball.
It's softball.
Yeah. Yeah, boo. Yeah, whatever. That makes sense. So it's following a middle school softball team in the weeks leading up to their championship game, and each episode is told from the perspective of different characters. So this has very Pixar moments, kind of like Up, and also I want to say, what was their other one? What's the Inside Out? The one with the emotions and the bits
this
and
is
pieces?
made by a lot of the team who made Inside Out made this.
Yeah, which has some very big similarities on like the emotions. So we have like the first episode is about the coach's kid, so that's the perspective we get, where that's about like the anxiety and the insecurity that sort of follows them around about having the pressure of being the coach's kid, like they have to perform, etc. Then in the second episode we have Blue, which Blue is the umpire and the pressure that the umpire has, and he's like has the outside shield where he has the armor and stuff where he's trying to protect himself. Episode 3 is Raspberry, which is Rochelle. Is it Rochelle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where she's the sort of the star catcher of the team, like holds it sort of all together. Money's a little bit tight. They are from the mum's a single mum, has a little brother. She's like struggling to hold it all together, trying to be an influencer. Where then the next episode we actually get from her perspective, which is Pickle. So we actually get to see Vanessa, who does everything for her kids, but also backs them to the nines, like annoyingly so. And it's just... Which
is, like, I'll talk about those two in a second, but they're really good episodes back to back.
Yeah. So she loses her job because she has to do... pick up her kids and do a number of things, and then tries to make it as a social media influencer, and then you see her perspective of like struggling to get money, etc. Then we get Still, which is episode 5, which is about the little boy, the brother who's always stuck at the softball games. I love that one. I thought that one was cool, where it was like letting his imagination run wild with the...
Because that is so true. How many times were you as a kid dragged to...
I was the only child, so I didn't...
Yeah, but your parents playing sport when you were at an age where you didn't give a shit about watching it. I grew up at the touch fields. Like my parents played touch footy and rugby my entire childhood. And you would go there and just play with other kids, or you'd go there and just play on your own, and you're bored and can't wait to go home.
Yeah. I remember Mum played netball 4 times a week, so I was always the scorer. I was always doing the scorecards and the things. Dad did touch and was coaching football, so I'd run boundaries and make little bits of money.
Engaged. No, I didn't.
Like $20 for running the boundary. And then, yeah, like I don't know, I've always got given jobs.
No,
and then, episode 6 is about the pitcher, Ewan. So he's like, it's all about, what was it, insecurity and like being vulnerable.
Sort of that like mask, like putting on a tough facade.
Yeah. And then we got episode 7, which is I Got It, which is about Kai, who's like the new kid and has to make friends, being like thrown into a new environment.
Yeah. Which I think had subtext of transgender as well.
I didn't quite pick up on that one, but...
Yeah, there's a couple little scenes where I'm like, oh, I think that's what they're trying to address here.
Yeah. And then we've got episode 8, which is about Dan, the coach, and about him having to like hold the team together and them winning the championship, etc.
Yeah, that one's 30 minutes long. It's 10 minutes longer than the rest. And the last 10 minutes becomes all of them again. Because every episode sort of ends partway through the championship game. And then the last episode sort of brings all of their... Because every episode has... So every person-centric episode, they all are, but each person has like a... How would you describe it? Like there's a level of... everyone has like a fantasy element, I suppose. So the first one, there's this little blob called Sweaty, which is her anxiety following her around and saying all like the anxious things. The episode where Rochelle, she has to be an adult, so she's all like her fantasy is that she's in like a business suit and whatever. So every episode, and the umpire has like his shield of armor and whatever. So every episode has that. So then the last episode, we see all of them sort of together and seeing, almost like a fantasy fucking Dungeons and Dragons, all these different characters with their suits of armor and bits and pieces coming out. But fuck, this is good.
Yeah.
This caught me off guard. I watched 2 and was like, as soon as the first one's over, you're like, oh, that's pretty cute. And then as soon as you realize in the second one that you're going to go back and experience the same period of time, I didn't realize that was the premise of the show. But to then experience it all over again with new perspective, it made me want to rewatch. I think I'm going to rewatch it again because I did notice in the first episode that the umpire in the championship game was like crying. And I was like, what the fuck's going on there? But now, like, I'm looking forward to watching it again and knowing all the characters and their journey over that week. It'd be fun to watch it again and be like, oh, look at that person in the background doing that. Look at that person doing that. Characters that you think are just side characters doing nothing.
Yeah, like I didn't see much publicity for this either. Even like any real big publicity, I don't see anything much about it. All I saw was a little TikTok and they were saying, oh, this is kind of like brings you the same emotional, kind of not, I don't think turmoil is the right word, but like the emotional reaction that Up gives you. You know how Up sort of hits you in the heartstrings? Like and I was like, yeah, that's not too bad. That's a fair representation. Where I was like, the first episode, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to have like the ongoing sort of like emotions being like heavily weighed upon, where they had the little squishy blob anxiety, whatever you want to call it. I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be. But no, it was like each episode has a key moment and key purpose. And I was like, this is sick.
Yeah, very much so.
And thoroughly enjoyed it.
Some of it's really like, I don't think this is necessarily made for kids. This is like an adult sort of, like a lot of the story about the mum. It's her at work and her trying to balance having kids. Like it's the blob one, the anxiety one at the beginning. It was a little bit, like you said, on the nose, Inside Out. That felt like it was for kids. But a lot of this is very adult themed. And I think it's Disney Pixar finally taking a page out of like Bluey's book, because Bluey is not, a lot of the time family movies have been stuff made for kids, that there's a couple of things in there and there and there that like can be for adults and adults will kind of enjoy. Whereas now, because of Bluey, I think that the trend needs to be make stuff for adults and then make it cartoony and silly at times, and kids will also like it. And that's what Bluey did, and that's what made it so fucking successful. And that's what this is. This is not made for children. Very much not.
No,
but kids will still like it.
There's some heavy tones in there as well.
Yeah.
Even with, was it Blue? Blue was like trying to move on, but still in love with his ex.
Yeah. And then he tells someone online that he's been interested in, that he's still in love with his ex. So then he goes and sees his ex, and turns out his ex is engaged. And like that heartbreak is not for kids. But my favorite two episodes side by side, I think really sets the tone of the show, is with Rochelle and Rochelle's mum. Because the whole episode of Rochelle, when she's trying to save money, and she's she's cheating and on tests and whatever, so she can make money so she can pay for her season. The whole episode, you judge the mum, and you get mad at her being a bad mum and being unfair. And then the next episode is the entire story again from the mum perspective, and you're like, holy shit, she's struggling. Like this is, she's working a job that doesn't understand that parenting comes first. She's trying to keep everything afloat. Like that, to me, I think that's such a good lesson to teach kids, is everyone has their own shit. Like, you know, a whole team of people, you're playing sport with your 10 friends, 11 of you on a soccer pitch. Everyone's got their own virtual backpack. Everyone's got their own shit. You know what I mean? I think that's really good.
Very much so. Yeah. Because, I really disliked Vanessa at the start.
Yeah.
In even episode, was that 2, where she comes in for the parent-teacher interview?
Yep.
Where it was like, I was like, you can't just back your kid like 100% and make the teacher. Like the teacher's not going to call you in for no reason.
No, I know.
Like, yeah.
We know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's more work. Like, we don't want to do that. And then, like, you get annoyed with her, and then you still sort of, like, get annoyed with her at episode 3. And then by, I don't know, quarter of the way through episode 4, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You get it.
Like, yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow. That was really cool.
Yeah. Very much so. I also really like in this that, because it's literally told from perspective, almost in a way that like when you're recounting a story, because there are moments where from one character's perspective, when a story happens, they'll say whatever. And then when it goes somebody else's perspective, the same interaction goes completely different. And that's so true. Like there's that saying that there are 1,000 versions of you out there, because everyone has a different perspective of who you are. Give me a sec. I'll see all my dogs, so this pisses me off.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
I could hear him. They were getting excited.
Can you get the fuck out? Out. Jesus Christ. Go somewhere else. Out. Sorry.
Good.
Is playing. But yeah, that whole idea of you know, different versions of your own self and how you perceive yourself versus how the world perceives yourself and how that person perceives you, that person perceives you. Like there's a lot of things in this that are really quite clever in the way it's delivered to kids. And again, reminds me of Bluey, because Bluey isn't on the nose, you know, stupid entertainment. Oh, you got to be a good friend to make good friends and all that sort of bullshit. It sort of just, it lays out an episode and there's subtext that kids aren't stupid. Kids can figure out like, oh, that was how they saw that was different or whatever. And there's things here that parents can then talk about and go into more detail with. And anyway, really fucking good.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we watched it.
Ditto. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Like I said, I watched the first 2 and I was hooked. And I literally watched the entire 8 back to back.
Yeah. The episode 1 hit me a little bit because I coach my kids a lot and I'm very hard on them.
Yeah.
I'm it's ridiculously hard. But I think that's if your parent's a coach, I think it's I don't know, it sort of comes with it.
Yeah.
And
I remember that you're a dad too.
I come from a very, it's going to sound a bit wankish, but a very successful sporting family.
This is true.
My side of the family, we all played very high level sport. Mm-hmm. And it's my kids have the ability, the natural ability. They just don't quite have the experience or the mindset for it at the minute.
Yeah. I mean, they're still children. They're still young kids.
And it's I don't know. I don't ask them to do anything that's they can't achieve, but it's also I'm very, very hard on them.
But I'm sure the message that as you do in your life, just do your best.
Yeah.
Put an effort in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you can ask is the effort. But it's I get it. I got the coach's kid side as well. I was wow, that one hit home a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how good is that? That a fucking Disney Pixar show about kids playing sport can make you reflect on yourself as a parent coach.
Yeah, but also I'm normally hooked. If it's got sport, it's got superheroes or action. I'm normally pretty hooked. Where this one was
the sport was just it's kind of like Remember the Titans, where sport isn't the plot. Sport is just the sort of driving device of the plot.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I thought this was amazing.
Yeah, I loved it.
Couple of weaker episodes. But
what were your weaker ones?
I got it. So the new kid coming in. I was it's a bit weaker.
So the scene on that real quick before you continue, sorry, while I remember, the scene with that made me think of transgender was when she sits down with her dad, and she goes how's it go? It just cuts to him saying this is a lot, but I still love you. That very much felt like a coming out sort of thing. And then in the same thing, she's talking about how important it is that this is co-ed, that this is there's boys and girls on the same team. So my thinking is that the only reason you care about that is if there's argument about which side you're allowed to play on, if you can play for the women's or for the boys. So I think that's where my mind went. But I don't think Disney Pixar will be that clear because Chinese market, they don't want to be that obvious. But that was the subtext to me, was that this person's trying to find their home, I suppose, in their identity.
Yeah.
But anyway, hard to say.
And then episode 1 also was a little bit weaker. There was moments, but as a whole, it was a little bit weaker than the other ones.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
But the rest was sick. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. 4.5 from me.
Ooh, nice.
It's a big rating, but I adored this. I would watch it again and again and again. In fact, I'll watch it again today.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm at a 4. Easy 4.
That's fair. Which does mean that you thumped this week. As soon as I watched Bring It Back last night, I'm win or lose wins. Pun intended. It's good. It's very, very good. Anyway, wrap it up and you go to the toilet.
Yeah, well, if you listen on Spotify, give a 5-star rating. On YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. Tell them all. And we'll see you guys next time. Boys.
Love yous.